Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our 9 p.m. English News Edition. The headlines. An economic forum to open new investment perspective in China. Secondary school resume classes for this year 2024-2025. And for the international news, in Yemen, the number of flood victims rises to 30 dead. The details in this news. Welcome again, ladies and gentlemen, to our newsroom. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, held a working meeting this morning on the sidelines of the China-Djibouti Economic Forum for the chairman of the Chinese infrastructure technology and equipment company, Huawei. Discussion focused on ways and means of further deepening the relationship and partnership between Huawei and Djibouti in terms of technology, innovation and communications. Discussion focused in particular on ways of maximizing the return on a major development projects, technological advances. During this meeting, the President of the Republic highlighted the key assets of Djibouti's development, placing particular emphasis on our country's investment opportunities with a view to connecting the business community and foreign companies to the exceptional condition for making profits from investments that Djibouti offers. Both parties agreed to lay a solid foundation for a lasting strategic partnership in it and technological innovation between Huawei and Djibouti. The Djibouti-China Economic Forum was held this morning in Shanghai under the high patronage of the President of the Republic of Djibouti. The forum brought together over 350 Chinese operators and leaders entrepreneurs. This event was an opportunity to assess the achievement of a major plan and focus on our country's provisions as a place of trade and investment in Djibouti. Organized by the Ports and Free Zone authorities, the forum was a rich and fruitful opportunity for Chinese and Djiboutian business leaders to forge links and exchange ideas, as well as to review the key assets of Djibouti's development, with particular emphasis on investment opportunities in Djibouti. Known as the business center of the world, Shanghai is China's leading economic capital and one of the world's leading business hubs. The forum took place this morning on the sidelines of the 90th China-Africa Economic Cooperation Summit, which will happen in Beijing. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, was accompanied by high-level delegation, including the Ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti to the People's Republic of China, His Excellency Ambassador Abdullahi Migil, the Chairman of the Djibouti Ports and Free Zones Authority, Mr. Abubakar Omar Hadi, and the President of the Republic of Djibouti, the President of the Free Zone Authority, Mr. Abubakar Omar Hadi, and a dozen Djiboutian economic operators, led by the President of the International Chamber of Commerce of Djibouti, Mr. Yusuf Musa Adawali. The head of state, in his address, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, welcomed the Djibouti Free Zone Forum. President Guelleh pointed out that today's meeting bears witness to the enduring bond between China and Djibouti, a bond forged through centuries of maritime trade along the famous Silk. Further on, the President of the Republic indicated that a solid legal basis offering tax and non-tax incentives that reduce barriers and improve returns for foreign investors. The President of the Republic.
Rahim. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to this Djibouti Free Trade Zone Forum. Our gathering today is a testament to the enduring bond between China and Djibouti, a bond woven through centuries of infrastructure, of maritime trade along the ancient Silk Road. I am pleased that the government of China has decided to elevate our partnership to a global strategic partnership. I am also pleased to see that the bond between our countries has blossomed into a vibrant partnership strengthened by strategic investments in Djibouti infrastructure. These investments are not just brick and mortar. They represent a framework of trust and shared vision to the future. When we speak of investment in the cause of development, infrastructure is the cornerstone. It is the backbone upon which economies grow and societies prosper. Djibouti, strategically positioned at the crossroads of Europe, Asia, and Africa, has embraced its destiny with determination and foresight. We have embarked on a journey of change and reform, crafting a sustainable economy that will propel us to become the regional epicenter of trade. To attract and sustain the long-term investment, we have created a transparent business environment with our Trade Zone.
Still in China, where Djibouti's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, and his colleague in charge of the Economy and Finance, Mr. Ilyas Musa Dawali, took part in the 90th Ministerial Conference of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation early. The Beijing Guest Palace today hosted the 90th Ministerial Conference of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation. The purpose of the conference was to set the agenda for the presidential conference scheduled for September 5 and 6. The African summit, attended by outside players and which also meet regularly, is the Tokyo International Conference on African Development, the TICAD, which has also met 8 times since its launch. The 90th FOCAC will have a slightly different structure to previous ones, as it will be organized around thematic committees co-chaired by China and an African country. In Djibouti now, after the start of the new school year, the pupils in basic education, high school students and technical and vocational students returned to school this morning in various establishments in Djibouti and the 5 regions. Some 2,600 students in general and technical secondary education returned to their respective schools for the start of the 2024-2025 school year. MENFOP is continuing its effort to increase access and improve the quality of teaching and learning. In terms of access, MENFOP has extended several high schools in the Gubeto, the Asbio, and Abaitu region. This initiative aims to strengthen the access to quality secondary school in these rural areas, helping to stabilize local families and encourage school attendance in remote regions. The teaching of the mathematics, science, Arabic, and English will be modernized, notably through the integration of digital resources and external evaluation of the 2016 reform of general secondary education will be carried out, and a new reform and general secondary education in the baccalaureate will begin in January 2025 with the aim of innovating training paths in technical education. This new school year for general secondary education and technical training promises to be a promising one, marked by MENFOP's ongoing efforts to improve the quality of our education system. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, His Excellency Mr. Mustafa Mohamed Mahmoud, accompanied by a large delegation of senior ministry officials toured several schools during this visit. During his visit, the minister assessed conditions for the new school year, listened to concerns, and presented education initiative for the new school year. The visit testifies to the government's commitment to ensuring a favorable school environment and meeting growing education needs. The minister reaffirmed his determination to continue working for quality education accessible to all. This year's focus in technical and vocational education will be on developing a win-win sustainable partnership with the business world to improve the training of learners and ultimately their integration into the job market. Diversification of training methods with the development of a system of alternating training in the company and in the school environments. The professionalization of ETFP trainers is one of the year's priorities. Initial and continuing training must take account of development, innovations, and technologies in the various trades. This year's Trades Olympics will be held at the regional level with the IGAD countries taking part. In the Dakhil region now, under the supervision of Hassan Abdi Roble, prefect of the region, and Mr. Mahad Hussein Ahmed, the president of the regional council, and the head of the education department, Inspector Hafid Mohammed, all of the region's educational players mobilized to welcome the student with enthusiasm and dedication. The 6,600 basic education pupils who returned to school were warmly welcomed by 250 teachers spread across the region's 28 schools. Similarly, more than 230 middle school teachers welcomed their pupils in middle school establishment in the chief town and 3 sub-prefectures. The inspector expressed his satisfaction and gratitude to the prefect, the president of the regional council, and the military authorities for their support and presence at the start of the new school year. The pedagogical team, the teachers, and the inspectors all reiterated their commitment to quality teaching. As usual, the necessary hygienic equipment and school supplies have been provided to all schools by MENFOP to ensure optimal conditions for pupils and educational staff. Still in the south of the country, basic schools and middle schools in the Ali Sabieh region opened their doors on Monday. A total of more than 10,000 pupils, including more than 7,100 from basic schools and 3,308 from middle schools, returned to their classroom in an atmosphere marked by joy and reunion. A delegation led by the Deputy Prefect of the Ali Sabieh region, Mrs. Saada Wabari, and comprising the President of the Regional Council, Mr. Shamark Hassan Alale, the Regional Inspector, Mr. Mohammed Aden, police and gendarmerie officers, and the Education Supervisory team toured the region's various schools to ensure that the new academic year was running smoothly. During the tour, the delegation met with school heads who gave an update on the new school year. As part of its supports programs to improve the health system in Djibouti, the Africa Foundation for Aid and Development handed over 19 dialysis machines and their accessory to the General Peltier Hospital on Monday, 2 September, to equip the Djibouti Dialysis Center. The ceremony for the presentation of this important equipment took place in the presence of senior officials from the Ministry of Health, including Dr. Omar Mahmoud Ismail, General Manager of the University Hospital Center, the Technical Director of the Dialysis Center, Mr. Said Aoulad, and the Chairman of the Director of the Djibouti Office of the Africa Foundation for Aid and Development, Mr. Mohammed Hassan Abdullah. Dialysis machines are essential tools in modern medicine, playing a crucial role in saving the lives of patients with renal failure. According to specialists, these devices remove toxin and waste from the blood, thus compensating from impaired renal function. The president of the Africa Foundation for Aid and Development in Djibouti stressed that this initiative is not only a reflection of the medical vision of the foundation, but also a noble humanitarian message affirming the importance of solidarity and cooperation in providing health care to those who need it. Mr. Mohammed Hassan Abdullah also pointed out that his foundation had previously provided the General Hospital of Peltier in 2023 with 2 containers of medical equipment. In the north of the country now, following the emergency situation due to the bad weather in the region of Tadjourah, the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmed Robli Abdillah, to call an emergency meeting in order to dispatch a multidisciplinary team to make an assessment of the situation from Tadjourah Hospital and offer solutions to ensure continuity of care. The delegation had a first meeting to make contact with the local authorities, namely the prefect and the president of the regional council. Then the team went on a field visit at the hospital site, the central team of the Ministry of Health, to congratulate the outstanding work of the health staff of the mobile hospital in Tadjourah. The Sagalu Youth Association brilliantly organized the first edition of the cultural and sports meetings, which brought together more than 9 villages of the coast, marking a turning point in civic and cultural engagement. This event, which took place on August 30 and 31st, 2024, brought together hundreds of young people around activities that were both useful and enriching. On Friday, August 30, the day began with a major cleanup operation mobilizing more than 100 young people determined to beautify and clean their environment. Armed with gloves, garbage bags, and unwavering commitment, these volunteers walked the beach of the village of Sagalu, demonstrating their willingness to contribute to a healthier and more pleasant living environment for all. On Saturday, August 31st, the event took a cultural twist with a conference hosted by prominent writer Abdul Qadir Omar Maki. The conference provided a moment of reflection and exchange on cultural and literacy themes. This meeting, beyond their leisure and cultural aspect, were a true celebration of the unity of the youth of this coastal village and the dynamism of the youth of Sagalu. For the international news now, Lebanon, 2 dead in a vehicle on Monday. 2 people were killed in an Israeli strike on their vehicle in Naqoura, southern Lebanon, according to the Ministry of Health, which did not specify whether the victims were civilians. The National Information Agency reported a drone attack on the road to Naqoura without providing further details. According to an anonymous security source, the targeted car belonged to a cleaning company and the contract with the United Nations Peacekeeping Force in Lebanon, which is deployed along the border with Israel. Since the beginning of the conflict between Israel and Hamas in October, Hezbollah has engaged cross-border exchanges of fire with Israel to support its Palestinian allies. According to the UN, over 110,000 people were displaced by fighting in southern Lebanon, which killed 600 people, most of them Hezbollah fighters and about 100 civilians. Another news mentioned in the titles: the Yemeni Houthi group announced on Monday that the flood in northern Damar Governorate has claimed 30 lives. This is the statement of the director of the district of Wasab al-Safil in the Governorate of Damar Saturday. 27 people were killed following heavy rains and torrential rains occurred in the governorate of Damar on Friday and Thursday, before this number show stands at 30. Since the beginning of the last August, rainfall has increased in several governorates of Yemen, resulting in a death of about 180 people and hundreds injured by torrential rain and lightning, and more than 250,000 people were affected, especially in the camps for displaced persons. In Malawi now, the Malawian government has received $11.2 million in compensation for a devastating drought related to El Nino, which led the southern African nation to declare disaster earlier this year. This allowance was paid to Malawi this month, the African Development Bank said on Monday. Malawi had a drought insurance policy through the Bank and African Risk Capacity, an agency of the African Union. These funds will support food aid for some of more than 235,000 households in some of the most affected areas of Malawi, and also contribute to direct relief payments to more than 100,000 households, said the African Development Bank. The Malawi President Lazarus Chakwera said that this allowance was a lifeline for our vulnerable population. Malawi, already one of the poorest countries in the world, has seen its food supply destroyed by drought attributed to the natural weather phenomenon El Nino, which lasted last year before ending in June. The country declared a state of emergency in March and reported a food crisis in 2023. This is it for this news. Thank you for watching us. Stay tuned on RTD.